We are Mike and Taylor, and these are our dogs, Penny and Lucy. 4 years ago, we sold our home and everything we owned, moved onto a 40-foot boat, and sailed from Seattle. This is the story of us making our way. Welcome back, friends. We've just had one of the most beautiful weeks ever since arriving here in San Blas over 3 months ago, complete with clear skies, gentle breezes, and beach parties. But in a life lived on the water, oh how quickly things can change. Tomorrow morning, first thing, we are going to pick up and we're going to basically trek all the way across the San Blas archipelago, kind of back in the direction that we first arrived in, so that we can get ourselves ready to begin the checkout process, which I don't even want to talk about still. I'm not ready, but get the checkout done. So we have it done so that when we can go, we can go. So that's my poem for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. The next morning, we sailed across the archipelago and headed back to the cluster of islands known as Chicheme, which would make for an easy jump in the morning to check out of Panama. But soon after dropping the hook here, things quickly went from serene to hectic. We arrived at this anchorage yesterday, and it went from like totally peaceful to like the wind just like kicked in, exactly when they said it would, which is always amazing to me, but the wind kicked in and then it was chaos in here. While sitting in the cockpit, I noticed that the charter boat anchored right off our starboard bow was dragging anchor, and quickly. First aiming right for us, but then sent adrift into a tightly packed anchorage. After I yelled to alert the crew that they were on the move, a fleet of dinghies launched and surrounded the boat to help fend it from making a collision. For unclear reasons, they were unable to get their engine started or their anchor up. So for a very tense 10 or 15 minutes, it was the work of the dinghies to keep them away from other boats and their anchors. Oh man. Wind just like turned on here and turned direction, and we're just sitting here, and all of a sudden one of these like charter boat, you know, like day trip type boats was just moving across the anchorage, and I guess he couldn't get his engine started. I don't know what the deal was, but he wasn't starting his engine, and so like literally everybody in the whole anchorage just got in their dinghy, like fend him off of all of the boats, and I'm not sure if he ended up hitting somebody or not. And I think they've managed to get him re-anchored over there, but oh my goodness, that was some serious close calls, especially with the wind speed like pushing him quite quickly like around. Eventually, he was able to get carefully guided out of that packed spot and was shuttled to a new area in the anchorage, where he got lots of help setting his anchor and making sure all was good. So the boat that dragged has reset. I think they're okay. I actually don't think they ended up hitting anybody, which was remarkable. I mean, they missed people by inches. That was just so close, including some of our friends. I mean, they were just fully adrift. Because I think there's where they were anchored, they were on like a little shelf and just had their anchor just touching the sand or something, and so when the wind picked up, they just fell off the shelf and their anchor was not on the ground. They were just fully adrift. But anyway, with the help of like 9 dinghies from the anchorage and a lot of, you know, concern from all the onlookers, myself included, they were able to reset. And we reset as well. We moved to a little bit more of a roomy spot. So that, you know, we have some space and not too worried about being close to somebody. So, all is well. It was mayhem, absolute mayhem in here. And it was kind of a wild night. Like it's still pretty calm behind the reef, but like the outer reef when we first got here looked like a pond. It was so calm. And right now it looks like the Horn. The wind kicked in that afternoon and continued to build overnight, bringing gray skies and a rough sea state out beyond the reefs. So today we are checking out of Panama, which is sad on its own, but it means that we have to get ourselves to a very particular location in the San Blas archipelago, a place that has an office that can facilitate this checkout, the checkout that's already begun and has to happen today. Like the process has already started, and we need to get our passport stamped within I think 24 hours of the process being started. And all of us, like the 8 boats or whatever that we've been rolling with for the last few months, we're all doing it today. I think there's 3 meter swell that we're going to be taking right on the beam. And then once we do the checkout in this once we anchor in this bad anchorage, go to shore, check out, and get back to our boat, we're all going to leave because it's a terrible anchorage. And nobody wants to sit there and spend the night there when you can get such better protection behind these reefs. So we're going to be going out in this twice today. I'm going to do my best to get this ready for passage. But it's not very far. It's only 4 miles, but I don't want to do it. I really don't.
The wind has calmed down a little.
The wind has calmed down, but the sea state is bonkers.
Yeah. Just turn the instruments on. It's only 16 to 18.
Yeah, it doesn't.
What I've seen, so.
Yesterday it was 25 or 30 when we were making dinner.
Yeah, yesterday it was really blowing, so it's just the.
It just kicked up a gnarly sea state that we're gonna take right on the beam, I think.
And I think the
entrance to this.
Yeah, leaving here is really narrow, and getting in there is really narrow. At least we have friend boats going with us. It's bad timing,
really,
it's been such calm weather.
Really bad timing. It has been beautiful.
But we gotta do it, so we're gonna do it.
We headed out through the narrow pass, with waves breaking all around us on the surrounding reefs. We got our mainsail up and we headed out into the swell. Luckily, the wind wasn't as heavy as it was forecast, so even though we still had big seas, the wind was manageable and mostly just held us steady as we took the swell on the beam. Then it was time to drop the headsail and prepare to enter the narrow channel. bar crossing. Once inside, we drop the mainsail and then the hook. Anchor's down. Woo! Wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it wasn't awesome. So now we're at the checkout thing. We have to go take this, get this all taken care of. While we sit in this washing machine of an Anchorage, these poor dogs. Then we're gonna pick up, we're gonna go back out, and we're gonna go find a place that doesn't make me want to barf. So this little island that the checkout's happening on also has an airstrip, and I don't think it's really working for us normies, but I think it's functional for some fancy yachts. I think you have to pay a lot to be able to fly in and out of here, but a little plane just came and landed. Like, oh my gosh, it was wild. It might be that Mike's already done and on his way back, which would be great. This Anchorage sucks. Checkout is complete. It was easy. Now we're gonna go to a better Anchorage. This feels like Costa Rica all over again. We're raising the main at anchor, reefed just to make it easier so we don't have to turn up into these swells. With our checkout complete, we headed back out through the pass. It wasn't long before we were back behind the protection of a reef, which flattened the seas just in time for the wind to pick up to its forecasted strength. So, we hauled along in the driving rain until we reached our anchorage for the night. Okay, the anchor is down in a much flatter Anchorage. This is actually one of our favorite spots as well. We like this place, but the bottom here has lots of like broken up coral and just like small rocks, and so setting here can kind of be like a thing, and setting here can kind of be like a thing, and setting here can kind of be like a thing. While most of the anchorages in San Blas have clean sand that make for easy and good holding for anchors, this particular spot is a bit harder and requires a diligent process to be sure your anchor is properly set, which is a fact that will become viscerally evident in a matter of hours. Anyway, and our whole group is all here now. We all pulled in together, dodging trees, and that was just an absolute wild day. But we got it done, checkout is done, and we are in a much better Anchorage. Did you have to wear shoes?
I put sandals on.
How was that? How did it feel?
Weird.
Yeah?
It was the first proper building, That wasn't like palm fronds and stuff. Like there was a concrete building and like another like wooden structure.
Yeah.
Civilization.
Wow.
But we did it. It was super easy.
Sorry you had to put those terrible things on your feet.
I know. That was alright though. First time in 3.5 months.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen a car.
Lucy would like some of your sandwich now. She said, good story, Dad.
Sorry, hon.
It was a long day, and we all settled in for a good night's rest. But in the middle of the night, chaos struck. Oh my God, I'm shaking. A boat just hit us. A boat just fucking hit us. Oh my God, it's the middle of the night. And we both just got up to pee, and I just laid back down in bed. And there was a boat on us, like, on us. On us. And not just one, it was a fucking raft up. It was a fucking raft up. Oh my God, Mike just zoomed over to help. Oh, don't hit that oyster, dude. Oh my God, I'm shaking. Holy shit. Are you sure our anchors are right? After dragging anchor into us, the chaos continued as the rafted boats struggled to free themselves from each other, get the anchor up and their engines on in time before colliding with more boats in the anchorage. Everybody was on alert and on deck, prepping for possible impact, and dinghies were launched to try to help. But so you saw it when you were in the bathroom? Like, we literally both got up to pee randomly, and I laid back down in bed, and the second I laid down in bed, I could see something like through the hatch, and it sounded like a car accident. It was like metal on metal, and like a bang and a fucking drag. And I got up, and their starboard quarter rigging and davits were against, not rigging, davits. It was their whole dinghy mount, the big one on this huge fucking cat, by the way, was pushing against our shrouds and in our net.
And the monohull that was rafted to them. So you get hit by two boats at once. We're fortunate that they kind of collided into our starboard side instead of like right dead in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then their davits and stuff were like hung up in our our starboard shrouds for a while, and so
I was pushing it. It turns out really hard to push like a 60-foot cat.
Yeah,
that's
it's like a Lagoon 59 or something.
It's a 60-foot cat?
And a 42-foot monohull. So it's like, yeah, it's like 70,000 pounds in the boat.
I literally, the shrouds, they were like pressing up against the rigging, and I mean, you know, I literally watched them anchor this afternoon. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. It was like, kind of like, I mean, all sailors always have comments on everybody else's anchoring, but like, we both remarked on how kind of nuts it was. And then I literally made a comment to you, half joking, about them being right out in front of us and dragging into us. And you're like, they're not gonna drag. The monohull successfully re-anchored way out away from the group of boats, while the catamaran circled and attempted to re-anchor in the same spot they were in before, in front of us, but consistently had trouble setting in the rock and coral bottom, and continued to get dangerously close to other boats in its attempts. The whole anchorage was a mess of spotlights as the crew on the cat became a little bit frantic, but eventually they hooked and we all tried to go back to sleep. The sound of that was like the worst part. Like, it was like a car crash, but like it's just so loud, like the metal like crunching. And so this is the cat. This is who hit us, but they had another monohull rafted up on their starboard side. And then they ended up, their whole stern of both of the boats were like against our whole side, basically. Like we had both of their sterns dragging along the thing in there. Someone's davits was caught in our rigging. Their stuff was like pressing into like our netting and lifelines. Like tried to push them off, but
I think we got really lucky that it's
totally
so flat calm in here. Like there was wind, but there was no wave action, so we weren't like doing a lot of rubbing.
Getting worse, more tangled. Yeah.
And we our response was like first thing I did was start our engine.
Yeah.
In case, because I thought probably we were gonna start dragging with 3 boats all, but we didn't. But we actually held. But anyway, we had our engine on, screaming to wake those guys up. And they
were, by the time I was on deck, because I was awake already, like I saw it, like literally, I can't believe that we were both awake, and within 2 seconds it happened. There's something eerie about that. I feel like maybe there was something that woke us both up that we're not conscious of, but...
I woke up because the wind had picked up, I think. Because I got up, the reason I got up was to set an anchor alarm.
By the time, by the time I saw it overhead and heard it, I ran up. And by the time I was up here, they had people on deck too. Like me and a couple chicks. Like there were people on that boat that we were all like pushing.
Yeah, they did a good job.
They were on it, and I don't know.
When you get woken up in the middle of the night and you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, they were fast, and they got that mono off of them really fast. Like they and then they tried to re-anchor like several times. Of course, they went back to the same place right in front of us. But they tried to re-anchor several times, and I think they kept dragging, and you could tell that they were getting like really panicked. Like they started like screaming, and I don't know. It was just bananas, man. It's a little bit scary, wasn't it, Penny?
The dogs are very helpful.
Yeah, you were so helpful. You
They
barked.
woke up the whole neighborhood.
Yeah. What a night. Jeez.
After craziness last night with 2 boats dragging into us, we want to go inspect the damage. I think we got really lucky. I think it's just some scuffing on the hull. Their davits were like stuck in our starboard side shrouds. So last night I was worried about maybe having worst case to be like our rig comes down, because there's like 70,000 pounds worth of boat, probably maybe more than that, pressing against us. Taylor said that she saw like a lot of pressure on the lifelines, but I think most of it was like against the hull and the shrouds, and so I don't think any of our stanchions bent. So we got pretty lucky, but we'll have a better look here.
After a thorough inspection, we somehow managed to escape any real damage. Just a few small scuffs on the hull were the only evidence of our scary night aboard.
They're not even like bad boat problems, it's just like
Well, it's a couple days later after the collision incident, and everybody's feeling good, and we've had a couple nights of really good sleep, and we've been able to talk to the boat that that dragged and all as well, and so yeah, it's just a very hectic, very chaotic, extremely stressful, pretty scary night for a lot of boats, but in the end all is well, and no big deal. So the weather has turned nice again. We had almost a week there of like really rainy, really windy, gray kind of days, and it's back to blue skies and gentle breezes. And so today we're gonna pick up anchor and we're gonna go to another spot, and everything seems more amazing here. Just because we're in like the home stretch. I think we're gonna be leaving here in like 5 days or so, which is really sad because we could live here. This is just incredible, but there's only a couple windows that allow us to make the moves that we need to make, and so we are on the Earth's timeline here, not ours, and so we've got to take advantage of the windows when they present, and that's what we're going to do. But for now, we're still here for a few more days, so we're going to enjoy it as much as we can and worry about leaving another time. Join us next time as we say goodbye to the beautiful country of Panama and the incredibly special San Blas Islands, and we set sail for Colombia.